welcome to the practical side of a gratitude and meditation practice. I am stoked, pumped, whatever you want to say about this course. And I could do a full course and deep dive just into the topic of gratitude. I could also do a deep dive and a full course just on the topic of meditation. Neither of those is the purpose of this course, though. The purpose of this course is just to share with you how I take a gratitude practice and a meditation practice and make them practical in my day-to-day life. And also to maybe introduce to some how they intersect with each other. Now, we're going to give a lot of prompts. We're going to give a lot of tools. There'll be a lot of resources and links to people outside of myself as well. But even just in this video, you'll notice in the description, also down in the resources, you'll notice in the descriptions is that there are some prompts that we're going to give you. So you'll see some graphics. The first one you're going to see is about the gratitude in breath and the out service breath. I'm not going to explain that here, but you'll hear a lot about that in the course. So you're going to see that graphic made available to you. Also, you're going to see a 3 by 3 by 3. You're going to hear a lot more about that as the course moves on. So that graphic is available. And another thing is I believe with all my heart, sometimes we set the wrong goals. We're going after the wrong thing. So you're going to see what my flow chart is for a gratitude practice and how I set goals. So a lot of times, I'm going to use one example. A lot of times we set a goal to become more present. Maybe that's not the wrong goal for you, but it's a wrong goal for me. And here's why, is I want to set a goal to not only be grateful, not only to achieve becoming more present, but my goal is really to acknowledge the things that I have been grateful for. So the first thing I have to do is I have to look for things to be grateful for. Can you really hardcore seek and look for something without being present? So actually having a gratitude practice, looking for things, seeking things to be grateful for is almost the definition of being present. It's pretty hard to be freakishly present or not be freakishly present when you're actually looking for and seeking things. Now, once you've actually looked for and you're seeking and then you find, that's not the end of the goal either for me. The actual goal for me is once I find those things to be grateful for is to acknowledge them. And you'll see in my flow chart and throughout the course how I acknowledge those things. Sometimes it's in word. Sometimes it's in my journal. Sometimes it's in a letter to someone. Sometimes it's in my prayers. Sometimes it's in my meditation. So there is a flow chart for that as well. And then the last thing that you're going to see are some meditation prompts. And we'll give you some actual meditation prompts and kind of almost journals and logs for you to use in this course as well. So anyways, I hope you love and adore the course. But if you get nothing out of it, that you could actually see that a gratitude and a meditation practice can be completely integrated into each other, completely integrated into your practical life day to day, then this course has served its purpose. Hope you enjoy the course. Thank you, thank you. All right, guys, there's about 101 reasons why I should not be making this course and doing these videos outside by a stream. The first one is going to be because my creative partner, Chrissy, is probably going to kill me because the audio isn't good enough and the lighting isn't good enough and I'm not very obedient. Okay, but the fact is, I wanted you to see in real time where I go almost every single morning. Where I shouldn't even say where I go, where Squirrel and I go just about every morning. For those that don't know, and Chrissy, feel free to put Squirrel's picture up on the screen. But the fact is Squirrel is my little rescue. She's half wiener dog, half chihuahua, weenie wawa, chiweenie, whatever you want to call her. But we like to go every morning, we like to go on our gratitude walks. And they mean the world to me. A little harsh in the winter time, but they mean the world to me. And this is part of our gratitude walk. So we have a path that goes right behind where this camera is right now. We usually take Squirrel about 2.5 miles. I drop her off at the house, and if I'm up for it, I go another 3 to 5 miles myself, more on the hardcore trails. And we like to come down by the stream. Now this course is called Gratitude and Meditation Practice, the practical side. So you're going to hear two words probably quite a bit throughout this course. Number one is practical. Everything that we're going to talk about has to be crazy practical. Otherwise, I'm just going to be honest, I just don't have a lot of interest in it. I'm not going to say I don't get any value out of meditating on a cushion, but I'm going to tell you right now, if what I'm doing on the cushion and the value, the perceived value that I'm getting by meditating on the cushion, if I can't figure out how to make that practical and take that into my day-to-day life, if I can't take that into a restaurant when I'm walking through Chipotle to get my food, if I can't go into Target and walk through the store and at will, on command, go into the same beneficial state that I supposedly am able to get myself into on the cushion, it just doesn't hold a lot of value to me. And again, I'm not saying that if your entire practice is based on you wake up every morning, you do your routine, you've got habits, you have a cushion in the corner of a specific room with special lighting, candles, incense, whatever you got going on, if you're finding real value there, God bless you. But what we're going to talk about in this course is I find value there, but I find a lot more value if I can figure out how I got to whatever state is bringing me value in that corner, in that specific space, in that specific time, and I can bring it into my day-to-day life. If I can bring that and go into that meditative state at will and on command while I'm in front of my spouse, while I'm in front of a stressful situation at work, while I am in front of someone just getting a cup of coffee at Caribou. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that level of practicality. Oh, I just love that, okay? So everything's got to be crazy practical. The second word you're going to hear a lot, or I hold a lot of value on, or I put a lot of value on, is the word practice. We talk about a gratitude practice. We talk about a meditation practice. So many people that I've talked to, or people that know that I have a meditation practice or I have a gratitude practice, they come to me and they talk to me about their meditation practice. And 9 times out of 10, if they're talking to me because they're frustrated about their meditation practice. I'm never frustrated about my meditation practice. Why? Because meditation practice. It's the word practice. I don't take it that seriously. I believe I'm still practicing. When I'm practicing, I don't got to get it perfect. I'm practicing. This is practice. Okay? Now, I take it more seriously than just practice, but I do lean heavy on that word and provide myself grace. Grace is a huge part of my gratitude practice, which gratitude to me is an action word. It's a verb, so we'll get into that in a bit. And meditation practice, so I give myself grace. So welcome to the practical side of gratitude and meditation practice. I hope you enjoy this. This is designed to be a bunch of 5, 10, and 15-minute mini lessons along the way. I'm going to suggest that you go all the way through this course from beginning to end and don't worry about whether you learn anything. Just go through it, put everything in context, then you can go back to the lessons that you need at this time. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Look at all these things flying around me. I love it out here. Okay, so this first lesson or module, you're not going to get too deep into my thought process. It's going to be more specific on what are my specific resources that I have leaned on and I continue to look at and hold in high regard or respect quite a bit. Now, these might seem like a little different based on when you hear the rest of our lesson here in the course, and that is the most basic of basic books, in my opinion, is Sit Like a Buddha. I just absolutely think this is about as easy of a meditation book that exists out there. And the reason why I find value in it is because even if I've been doing this, and my history is, I'm going to be 50 this year. It's 2021, and in July I'll be turning 50. And I started doing this probably when I was in either late middle school, junior high, whatever you want to call it, or early high school. I think it was junior high that I started my meditation practice. So I've got a long history in this. I've got a lot of experience in this, and I still find huge value to go back to the most basic of the basics. When Lodro talks about his 10 suggestions, one of them is know your why, okay? I'm constantly looking back at this book and reminding myself, why did I start meditation and why do I continue to do meditation? Now for you, your why may be one thing today and it may be something completely different even 6 months from now. It may be something completely different 6 years from now. For me, I'm going to tell you what my why was, just so you can put in perspective what someone's why might even sound like. I was, at that time in junior high and high school, I struggled quite a bit with mental health. I struggled quite a bit with depression. And because of that, I felt like I didn't have very good control of my emotions. And what I was looking for is something that could help me to learn or gain emotional self-control. That's what I was looking for. That was my why. Now, there's a who. He doesn't talk about a who in here. He talks about a why. But I'm going to admit, my who, I was blessed. I had an aunt that actually taught meditation, and she was a breath of life instructor. And so she was a great resource for me and probably a big influence for me as well. But I knew my why, and I was lucky enough to have a who. Now, this course may be your who. Who introduced you to meditation? Who taught you your first things about meditation? Maybe this course is it, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just one step in the journey. But I can tell you my why was I was looking for something that would help me gain a skill set around gaining emotional self-control. Now that was 30 to 40 years ago. Okay, let's call it 30 years ago, 30, 35 years ago. I'm going to be honest, it's still my why. It's still my number one reason why I get value and I still continue to have a meditation practice. Now, in this course, we're going to talk about a gratitude practice and a meditation practice. So right now, this book is hardcore just about meditation. I'll definitely be diving into gratitude as well. But something as simple as this starts with know your why. I just love that he starts with that. Then, learn the meditation technique. When he talks about learning a meditation technique, he mentions in there that there are many schools. As I mentioned earlier, there are many schools of thought and different types of meditation practices and techniques. So he's just going to show you one. And his is not about finding calm. His is about rejuvenating yourself. His meditation actually may create some energy in you and some excitement in you. So I found that unique as well. So apply the ultimate tag team combo. Be consistent. Be gentle. I love that topic. Be gentle. You're going to hear a bit in this course that I provide myself grace. Constantly, grace is a part of my gratitude and meditation practice. So I like that he talks about being gentle. Overcome the three main obstacles he talks about. Work with your emotions, discover peace, become a dharmic person. What does that mean? And relax. It's a crazy simple book, but it's one that I've gifted to a number of people. It's one that I carry around. I put in my back pocket. It's one I have the audio of. It's not that I think it's the best written meditation book that's ever existed. It's not. Okay? But it's probably the simplest, most laid back, easiest to read, and all the points are spot on. So why not? It's a good book. So that's going to be the first resource, and the first lesson I'm going to give you is find some resources that work for you, not only that work for you now, but hopefully that you can return to from time to time as resources for you. Now I'm going to show you what my next set of resources, more ongoing resources for me, and it's certainly not Sit Like a Buddha, but I will tell you, this is one that I definitely recommend that you check out. You have it in your library, and make sure no matter how good you get at all this stuff, okay, no matter how great your practice is, constantly find something that allows you from time to time, maybe twice a year, maybe every whatever, twice a decade, whatever you need that allows you to come back to the basics. Maybe this course will be that for you, all right? But that's one resource that I will definitely recommend. I'll move on to the next one, which is my guy, Thich Nhat Hanh. All right, so I told you we'd go through some of my favorite resources. So the first lesson was just to tell you about Sit Like a Buddha. Very, very simple book. You've heard about that. The next one is not about a book. Now, I'm using a book as an example here. It's about a man. His name is Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is basically a hero of mine. And here's the beautiful thing, and I want to talk about him for multiple reasons. One reason is I want you to know that I have people that I look towards. and I cannot stop learning from. I'm constantly looking to learn from other people as well. This is not a solo effort here. I'm in a group meditation every single Saturday with a group of local people. This is not a solo effort for me. I am into books all the time, and I am looking for people who are amazing resources. Now, for me, Thich Nhat Hanh has been one of those people. I consistently listen to his talks. There's tons of recordings of Thich Nhat Hanh out there. I don't know how many books he has, but I think it's over 50 books. I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy number, whatever it is. I'm probably way off. I think I'm actually way low. He's got a crazy number of books. And let me just tell you, I adore his books. But I want to point something out to you. If Thich Nhat Hanh had been introduced to me, or if I had found Thich Nhat Hanh probably 15 years sooner than what I did, because I've been into Thich Nhat Hanh for quite a while, and maybe I've been meditating, I don't know, maybe roughly 30, 35 years. I didn't really get into Thich Nhat Hanh until I had already been deep in my meditation practice for probably over 20 years. If I had heard or been introduced to Thich Nhat Hanh 15 years earlier, I probably would have been completely turned off. I was not at the level that I could relate to him. He wasn't going to connect with me. So that's the next part of, yes, I want to talk about resources, but the first lesson is don't get hung up on what you connect with and what you don't connect with, okay? You might connect with one teacher. Perfect, great. You might connect with one group meditation that's local to you, and you go to that group meditation and you become part of that community. But you also might meet a couple teachers that turn you off like nobody's business. That's got nothing to do with meditation. That has to do with that person that you're not connecting with at this time. The other thing is, sometimes because we're not connecting with that human or with that particular meditation group or with that particular meditation study, two things. It's okay to put it away. You may come back to it someday. But it's also okay to acknowledge that sometimes we're turned off by the things that we need to be hearing. Okay? I have certainly been in that position where I'm turned off because it's an affront to me. It's an affront to me, and I take it personally because they're talking about things I'm having issues and struggles with. So just weigh out when you find something that's really bothering you. Determine if now's just not the right time. That's okay. Put the book down. Walk away from that teacher. Find another. Walk away from that group. Find another. Be honest with yourself. Is there something there that potentially I should be opening myself to, because maybe that's exactly what I need right now and why it's bothering me. So let me get back to this book. And this is probably not the book I would start out with Thich Nhat Hanh. It just happened to be the one sitting on my desk, so I picked it up and took it with me. What this book does for me, as an example, he constantly talks about what he says when he breathes in and what he says when he breathes out. That's a huge part of the technique I use. Now, I don't use much of his verbiage, but I use that same technique. So in this book, I can open up anywhere. I didn't even flag the page that I was going to open to, so I'm just opening up to page 7. And he says, breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. So this is what he's actually doing, and he doesn't have to say these words out loud. This is what he's saying mentally as he's breathing in and mentally while he's breathing out. So breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. As in my breath grows deep, as my in-breath grows deep, my out-breath grows slow. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I feel at ease. Breathing in, I smile. When I read that, and the first time I practiced that with him, because he has some recordings and I went along with him, when he said, breathing in, I smile, literally my body was incapable of not smiling when I actually spoke those words, mentally speaking. And my body reacted to that. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. He said, breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. And when he said that, and I said it mentally, when I said breathing out, I release, I'm not kidding. The release I felt was very, very, very real. So some of these are just ideas and techniques. And he's one that I don't use his words. I have come up with my own because I've been doing this for so long. You'll hear some of those later on. but I'll just tell you the techniques that he uses are pretty close to my heart because they're pretty close to my gratitude practice. Now, I just switched from talking about a meditation practice to a gratitude practice. You're going to hear some of my techniques for a gratitude practice as we go through this course. But one of them is I breathe in gratitude and I breathe out service. So what does that sound like? Breathing in, I'm going to confess. So now I'm talking about meditation, I'm talking about gratitude, and I'm talking about affirmations. That is those three things, and the breath that ties them all together is one of the keys, one of the main keys to my meditation practice that makes it practical. So I will think of something I'm grateful for, and I will speak the gratitude in, and then I will speak because I'm grateful for it. What is the service out? And here's what that might sound like while I'm walking, literally while I'm walking squirrel through this exact same path. This is hard for me to say. This is emotional to me. I'm not used to doing this on a stage. Okay? But breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. Breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows she is loved. Breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. Breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows she is respected. Breathing in, and you get the idea. And what I do is I always do cycles of 3. Breathing in something, and I'm going to confess something I'm grateful for. And I'm going to confess or affirm. Affirmations, guys. Gratitude, meditation, and affirmations. I tie them all together and then I put them in the breath. And it's always in groups of 3. 3 in, 3 out. 3 gratitudes in, 3 service out. So what I'm grateful in, and then based on that gratitude, what I'm going to give back. Why should I ever expect to receive something and not give something back? I'd almost rather give something before I receive something. But I'm confessing what I am grateful for. I am grateful for Dina's love. I am grateful for Jordan. I am grateful for Lauren. I am grateful for Jonathan. This is my wife and 3 kids. Then I will go through things in my career. I will go through things in my health. Okay? We'll get into that stuff deeper. But you get the idea. What Thich Nhat Hanh is doing in this book, the technique that he's doing to speak something in and speak something out. Now he does this, and I do this silently. And you choose what that in and out is. For me, it's a gratitude in, service out. And we'll talk more about that. And it's always in groups of 3. And then you're going to hear, I want a 3 by 3 by 3. I want to do whatever this is that I'm thinking about, the gratitude in, service out. I'm going to do that 3 times. And did you notice I say it a little different each time? So it doesn't become routine. It's very meaningful. It's different every time. How else would I talk about my gratitude for my wife? And how else would I talk about my service to my wife? And the next time I say it, how else could I say that? How else could I feel that? So I'm going to say it 3 times. Now, when I do that 3 times, I'm going to find 3 different things. So it might be I'm going to do that 3 separate times with my wife, 3 separate breaths, take a breath, maybe a couple breaths, maybe a couple minutes, and then I'm going to do it again. Then I'm going to take a rest, take a couple breaths, take a couple minutes, and I'm going to do it again. So it's 3 breaths, 3 times, and then I do that 3 times per day. One of the number 1 techniques you're going to learn from me later on that has brought me the most value. I love a good 15-minute, 20-minute meditation. I love a half-hour meditation. I love a 45-minute meditation. Give me a frickin' break, though. That is not practical to me when I am feeling stressed, standing in front of someone in the middle of work, and I want to go into a meditative state, or what I feel when I go into a meditative state, at will and at command in that moment. I don't have 15, 20 minutes to get into it. So the reason why I do the 3 by 3 by 3, which is so important to me, is because what I'm doing is I'm also practicing going in and out of a meditative state at will and on command. You're starting to hear a few of the things that mean a lot to me. I am going to tie gratitude with affirmations, with meditation, with the breath. I'm going to tie it on a 3 by 3 by 3 so that I get in the habit throughout the day, not about, if I want to do a 15, 20 minute, 45 minute meditation, awesome. Okay? But my number one practice is, what practice would I have to do so that I build up a skill set and an ability to go in and out of a meditative state at will and on command when I need it the most, which is typically not while I'm sitting on a cushion staring in the corner of a room with the right lighting and the right music and the sound of birds and the sound of a bell. It's while I'm standing in my real life at Target, while I'm standing in real life at work. Okay? So I hope that helps you guys. You guys are just starting to see a little window of what this really, really looks like for me and what it means to me. So, first resource I gave you, simple, simple, simple. Second one is, it's not this book, it's this man. Thich Nhat Hanh has got some great things to share. You may be ready for him, you may not be. Don't get hung up on whether you relate to him or not. Just know that he's one of those resources that someone has found value in, but also has admitted that I probably wouldn't have found value in him when I first started, because I didn't even know how to read the guy. I didn't understand what he was even talking about. When he talked about find gratitude in doing the dishes, I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought I was going to read a meditation book, and you're talking about doing dishes and being grateful. What is that all about? All right, so let's go on to the next lesson. There's a lot in this particular one. Might be worth going back and at least listening to the second half of this lesson over and over and over again. All right. I don't even think I can go any farther in this course without doing a bit of a deep dive on the word gratitude. If you watched the last lesson I had mentioned Thich Nhat Hanh and what a resource he was for me. But the second half of that lesson, which I think is about 13 minutes long, is really you got a good insight into what my practical, just the real practical side of my meditation practice really looks like. There was a 3 by 3 by 3 that we talked about. There was affirmations, there was gratitude, and there was meditation. There was the breath. It was all tied together. But that word gratitude, you notice, is a major part of my meditation practice and my affirmations and my breath. Breathe in gratitude, breathe out service. So we just can't go any farther without talking about gratitude. And when we talk about gratitude, I really like to bring up the word presence. It's one of those words that every New Year's you hear a lot about. Every New Year's you hear people say, you know what, my New Year's resolution this year is to become more present. I want to be more present with my family. I want to be more present with my wife. I want to be more present at work. I want to be more present, it's the goal. Okay? And then throughout the year, a lot of people, it's their goal throughout the year. Mid-year, it's like, you know what, I gotta buckle down, I gotta figure out how to just become more present. I just don't like that goal. Okay? I'm being honest with you. I don't see it as a goal. Oh, we just had a big tree fall right over here. Awesome. Okay, better there than not here. So here's the deal is, why don't I like the goal of becoming present? Because to me, it's not a goal, it's a reward. Okay, so think about it from this point of view. If something is a goal, you're trying to achieve that goal. I'm trying to achieve being present. Okay? Think about that. If you're trying to achieve, that means it takes effort to achieve, which also means you may have the skill set to achieve it. You may not have the skill set to achieve it, which means you may get it and you may not. And if you don't, you're failing. You're putting yourself in a position where you actually could feel like you're losing. You could feel like you're not winning. That's not healthy for me. Okay? Mental health is a huge deal for me. So if becoming more present isn't the goal, what is the goal? Presence is the reward for me. So the goal is to become crazy grateful. The goal is to have an amazing gratitude practice. Now, how do I have a gratitude practice? A gratitude practice, to me, gratitude is a verb. It's 100% a verb to me, okay? Gratitude
when I say gratitude is a verb, I am constantly looking for, seeking for, desiring, all of these types of things, okay? It's an action word. I know it's not. I know in the dictionary it's not, but in my soul, gratitude is all about action. What is the action? I am actively looking for and seeking things to be grateful for. Now, if I am actively looking, when you just think about it, you lose a contact and you are actively looking for it. Can you actively look, hardcore look, to find something and not be present? Is that even possible? Hey, can you look for this? You're either doing it passively and you're not really looking for it. If you come across it, you just come across it. That's not how I treat gratitude. I treat gratitude, I am actively looking for it all the time. What can I be grateful for today? I'm looking for a minimum of 3 gratitudes personally and 3 gratitudes professionally. I've been doing that for so many years. I am hyper present because I am constantly looking for and seeking things that I should be acknowledging, that I should be grateful for. Because I am hyper aware and constantly looking for, the reward is I'm pretty over the top present. Almost all the time. I'm hyper aware or hyper present. The fact that I'm present so often, I consider a reward. It's a blessing. It's a reward for what? For my goal. For achieving my goal. In fact, even if I don't achieve the goal. Think about that. Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. Okay, so the goal is to find things that I'm grateful for. To find things I could be grateful for. Even if I didn't find something, which is rare at this point, I'm so used to looking for things that I could be grateful for, I'm very aware of all the things I can be grateful for. But here's the deal. Let's just say I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad moment. I'm not doing a real good job at noticing the things that I'm grateful for. I'm looking for them. The act of looking for them, I am being present. Freakishly present. And when I'm not finding them, I'm almost more present than when I find them. Because when I find them, I let my guard down a little bit and I celebrate them. I'm no longer looking per se. Because I just found one and I'm going to celebrate it. And when I celebrate something I'm grateful for, the next technique that I use is I don't just look for things that I'm going to be grateful for. I look, find, acknowledge. Never forget the acknowledge part. Okay? Look for them. When you find them, find ways to acknowledge them. Sometimes acknowledging them, you're shy, it's just to write them in your journal. Sometimes to acknowledge them is to tell the person that's standing right next to you. Sometimes a way to acknowledge them is to write someone a letter and thank them. But the fact that I am looking for these things, whether I even find them or not in that moment, I'm hyper aware and I'm hyper present because I'm constantly looking for and seeking. That's why I feel deep down that gratitude is an action for me. That's the way I treat it. That's the way I think about it. That's the way I feel about it. I get in the dictionary that gratitude's not an action word. It's not a verb. It is in my world. It is in my soul. It is in my spirit. And because gratitude practice is such a big deal to me and such a big part of my daily life, I'm constantly looking for and seeking. I could say that 100 times and it still resonates with my soul and feels good. Because I am hyper aware, looking for and seeking, that's almost a definition of being present. So being present is never, ever the goal for me. It's the reward. The goal is to have a very active and healthy gratitude practice. Being present is the reward of that gratitude practice. So that is this particular module's lesson. It's not just about gratitude. It's really about presence and the fact that I see presence becoming more present. I am crazy present with my wife. I'm crazy present with my grandchildren pretty soon in about 2 weeks. Okay? I'm crazy present with my kids. I'm crazy present with my dog. Because I'm crazy over the top looking for and seeking things that I can be grateful for. Now, luckily, if it's with all those people, I acknowledge it to them, to their faces, hopefully. Okay? But I'm not making this stuff up. This is literally what I do. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, this isn't just about being with your kids. This isn't just about being with your wife. This is when I go into Target. I go into Target. Literally, I leave my phone in the car, because if I have my phone with me in Target, it's hard for me to be present with what's going on around me. It's hard for me to look for things to be grateful for because my head is buried in my phone. So I leave purposefully. Okay? This is not by accident. I've been very intentional. It would be an accident if I brought my phone into Target with me. It's intentional that I leave it in the car. And while I'm shopping, I've been in Target enough. I know, generally speaking, where the thing that I'm looking for is. So I'm really not putting that much effort into finding what I'm looking for. So what I'm doing is I'm scanning the aisles. I'm scanning the checkout. And I'm looking for examples of awesomeness. I'm looking for examples of someone who made someone laugh. I'm looking for examples for someone that saw someone struggling and they helped them. I'm looking for options that someone struggled and I received an opportunity. See, hear that? Received. That's a gift. Received an opportunity to help someone. I look for opportunities not to get in the shortest line, but to get in the longest line so I have time to look at what is going on with that cashier. And I look for just one example of where I am grateful for the way that they handled one of those customers. And then the practice is to look for, to find, and to acknowledge. So then the practice while I'm in Target is to look for, to find, and then I practice. This one's hard for me. I'm being honest with you, okay? I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but it's being honest, okay? It's hard for me then to speak up and tell that cashier, by the way, I was about 3 people back and I noticed how you helped that woman. That woman had a crying child and she couldn't even figure out how to check out with you. She couldn't even get the debit card out of her wallet because she was so distracted with her child. And then you went ahead and you quickly leaned over the child and said, hey, and you got the child's attention. All of a sudden you made the child laugh and the child was distracted by you and laughing and found joy and stopped crying. And because of that, you should have saw the relief on that mother's face. And all of a sudden she was able to get into her wallet. Something as simple as that. Pull out her debit card and paid and got out of there. You need to know, I saw that. That was absolutely awesome and amazing. Look for, find ways to acknowledge. The one that's hardest for me is to speak up to strangers like that. That's literally part of my practice. Now here's the beautiful thing. The reward is, there's plenty of rewards there, but one of them is because I am hyper, over the top, looking for and seeking things that I can find gratitude in and be grateful for and acknowledge. Because I'm so hyper over the top looking for that, it's almost the present of being present. So being present is the reward of a freakishly healthy gratitude practice. Really hope you got something out of this lesson because that's a major part of how I walk through life. And it's a blessing, I'll just tell you that much right now. All right, let's move on to the next. All right, we're going to dive into mini wins. Mini wins in meditation. Mini wins is a big part of my life. Anybody who's followed me has probably seen me post and repost that on social media about 1,000 times over the last couple of years. I am not the person that gets motivated by thinking, what's my goal 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and everything. Sometimes I'm just trying to get through the next 5 minutes. I'm looking for a mini win right now. I'm not saying I don't have 1, 3, 5, and 10-year goals, but I'm saying on a day-to-day, in a moment-to-moment situation, honestly, looking 10 years out just does not motivate me on a day-to-day and moment-to-moment basis. Mini wins motivate me. I want to know that I'm winning in this moment and that I did something small in the last 30 seconds that created some type of win in my life, in my soul, in my family, in my business, in my gratitude practice, and in my meditation practice. Okay? So what does that look like in real time? So Earlier, I had talked about the 3 by 3 by 3. So let's get rid of the last 3 for a moment. And let's just visit the first 2, 3 by 3, okay? That 3 by 3 was created for a couple reasons. Number one, I mentioned to you in an earlier module that the reason why I like the 3 by 3, and just a reminder what that is my meditation practice is based on the fact that, and let's just use my wife again, okay? It's a good example, is breathing in, I breathe in what I'm grateful for. Breathing out, I confess how I'm going to serve because I'm grateful, okay? So breathing in, I know that my wife loves me. Breathing out, I'm going to make sure that that girl knows she is loved. Now, I am saying these silently in my head. Breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. And breathing out, I'm going to make sure that that girl knows that she is respected. Breathing in, I'm so grateful that Tina loves me. Breathing out, I'm going to make sure that that girl feels beautiful today. That would be one cycle. That's 3, okay? 3 cycles of in and out. Now, what I want to do is I want to do that again 3 more times. And then I want to do it 3 more times. So total, I'm doing it in 9. But let's be honest. I need many wins, okay? Have you ever tried to get yourself into a meditative state and you literally didn't even make it 30 seconds? You didn't make it 60 seconds, you certainly didn't make it 2 minutes, and you certainly didn't make it 5 minutes or 45 minutes, okay? Look at all these things come floating down, okay? Here's the deal is, I want to create a win. And what I'm going to do, the 3 by 3, okay? So I'm going to do that 3 breaths in and out, 3 breaths in and out, 3 breaths in and out, okay? Now with that, here's the deal. Think about this. Can I just stay focused for 3 breaths? Just 3. That's all I need. If I can stay focused on what I'm thinking about and what my intention is for 3 breaths, I'm actually, I know this sounds silly, I'm winning at meditation. Okay? How ridiculous is that? I'm literally meditating and thinking, am I winning or am I failing? Now, I'll be honest, a lot of us don't think about winning at meditation, but a lot of people who talk to me think about failing at meditation. Isn't that interesting? We don't think about winning at meditation. We actually think about failing. I'm looking for wins. I'm going to create wins. That's why the name of my company is Cultivate Wins. I'm going to cultivate a win. And one way I cultivate it is I find a practice that I know I can win at. I can focus for 3 breaths. I know I can do at least that. Okay? So I'm going to focus for 3 breaths. Then I'm going to give myself a break. I'm not going to confess anything in. I'm not going to confess anything out. And I'm just going to breathe. In and out. I'm going to give a couple deep breaths. If what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight, what I need to go shopping for, what I need to do at work, or anything else like that comes to mind, I'm not losing. I gave myself a break. I only had to breathe 3 times without distraction. Then I got to breathe and think about anything I wanted. Then literally, I'm not talking figurative, literally, sometimes I do this out loud too, in my head, and sometimes, if I'm not around people, I will do this out loud. Now I'll say it really softly, but I'll say it a little louder so you can hear it. All right, let's do this. I give myself a pep talk. I literally say, all right, let's do this. And what does that tell me? I'm going into my second set of 3s, and then I'm going to breathe in, confessing what I'm grateful for. I'm going to breathe out how I'm going to serve based on what I'm grateful for. I'm going to do that 3 more times. And all I need to do is stay focused for 3 simple breaths. I'm not asking myself the world. I'm not asking for a half an hour of myself. I'm not asking to stay focused even for 2 minutes. I'm asking to stay focused on something that matters for 3 breaths. Then I'm going to give myself a break. I can think about whatever I want. Now, if I stay focused, which happens a lot of times after you've done this a while, I stay in that meditative state. But if I don't, who cares? Okay? If I do stay in that meditative state, when I'm ready, I'll go back into my last set of 3. Now, if I thought of other things, then I'm going to tell, you already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a pep talk. I'm going to tell myself that we're ready to go. All right, let's do this. And I'm going to dive back in for the last 3. If I do that 3 by 3 by 3, now you know that's doing it 3 breaths, 3 sets of 3. My other by 3 is that I do that 3 times a day, okay? Now here's the thing is if you do 3 breaths, give yourself a little relaxation, give yourself 3 breaths, do yourself a little relaxation, get in your last 3 breaths, what is that? I don't know, 2 minutes? It's hard to make that 5 minutes. That is the best 2 to 5 minutes you're going to spend all day. And if you can do that 2 to 3 times a day, you're doing multiple things. You're learning how to meditate. You're learning how to focus. You're learning how to focus at will and on command. You're focused on your breath. You're focused on gratitude. You're focused on service. You're focused on, when you're doing your gratitudes, coming up with affirmations of what you are grateful for. So now you're getting affirmations in. Now you're getting your gratitude practice in. Now you're talking about how you're going to serve others based on the gratitude that you have. Now you're practicing going in a meditative state and allowing yourself out of a meditative state at will and on command. That is awesome. Those are all the things that you are looking for. Now we got someone coming up behind us that's doing a little bit of work. And I'm leaving that in this video because I'm telling you right now, this message was important. This message was crucial for you to understand how simple you can make this meditation practice. Don't make this a big deal. You do not have to stay in a meditative state for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And if you don't stay in a meditative state and your mind wanders, you're failing at meditation. I just created wins, mini wins, 3 times over. By the end of those 2 to 5 minutes, I feel like I won 3 times over. Dude, I'm the best at this. Okay, here's the last thing I'm going to tell you about this. And I'll do a quick little video on this. And that is, grant yourself grace and embrace the chuckle. So we're going to do a little video about really granting yourself some grace and embracing the chuckle. Okay, you've heard about my 3 by 3 by 3, okay? But at the end of that video, you heard me talk about grant yourself some grace and embrace the chuckle. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'm doing it right now, okay? Here's the deal is, I'm going to create, as you heard in the previous lessons, if you haven't heard that, go back to it, because it will not be in context without that lesson, and that is this. When I do my 3 breaths, 3 in, 3 out, gratitude in, service out, here's the deal. I told you that I do only 3 breaths, and if I get 3 breaths in without getting distracted, I've just created a mini win. I would be lying to you if I told you that I always get through 3 breaths and I don't get distracted. How pathetic is that? Okay, but I'm okay with it. Sometimes, literally, I'm not even into the first breath and I'm already thinking about work. I'm into the second breath and I'm already thinking about what's going on tonight. I'm into the second or third breath and I'm already thinking about the fact that my daughter could be literally calling me and interrupting this video that I'm making right now because she's about to deliver our second grandchild. There are plenty of things I'm thinking about. So sometimes I don't even get through 3 simple breaths. I'm not even talking about getting through 5, 10, 15, 20, 45-minute meditations. Sometimes just within the first or second breath, and all I'm trying to do is get in 3, I'm already distracted by here. And so whenever I get distracted, I don't get frustrated and I don't push through it. Listen to those 2 things. I don't get frustrated and I don't push through it. What do? I give myself grace. I grant myself grace and I do something physical. That's a big part of this. Grace and do something physical is the biggest message I want you to get out of this particular module. I chuckle. Why do I chuckle? Because chuckle, which is just a small laugh, Sometimes I do it under my breath, okay? Now, if I'm in a group meditation, I won't do it out loud, but I will feel it, okay? But I chuckle, I laugh. Why? Because I'm almost like, Breckheimer, what is wrong with you? You couldn't even get through 2. Give me a frickin' break. That's the way, that's what I'm saying. So I'm actually making light of it, okay? I love Og Mandino's book where he gives the 10 scrolls, and one of them is laugh at yourself, okay? One of the principles of laugh at yourself, I actually laugh at myself when I fail rather than calling myself a failure, getting hard on myself. So I literally give myself grace and I chuckle. Now, here's the next step. This is how I do it, okay? When I fall on my face and I get distracted, I didn't even get through 3 breaths, what I do is I just laugh, I give myself a little chuckle, and I do not go right back into meditation. I give myself a little grace. I'm going to take 2, 3, 4, a half a dozen breaths until I process what I was ever going to process. All right, whatever. I'm thinking about work tonight. Okay, so on and so forth. Blah, 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 and I'm not speaking this or whatever. What I'm doing is I'm giving myself grace just to work through things and acknowledge the fact that I got distracted. And then you already know the phrase I'm going to say in my head. All right, Breckheimer, let's do this. All right, let's do this. And a lot of times I actually use my own name. All right, Breckheimer, let's do this. And sometimes I'll laugh just like that. You can tell I'm having a hard time even acting to this camera because this is what I literally do. I can't even stop myself while I'm teaching it to you from doing the chuckle. I can't even stop myself from saying it. Now, the only time that I stop myself from saying it is when I'm in with other people and it's in a group, but it's still, seriously, it comes out so loud in my head, I swear it comes out of my mouth and I'm a little embarrassed if it did or didn't. I don't even know the difference at this point, okay? So then, I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to chuckle, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to smile, whatever it is for you. For you, do something physical. Go, all right. Do something that you just acknowledge. That is what it is. Whatever. I'm moving on. All right, Breckheimer, let's do this. And then I'll dive back in. But I'll usually give myself anywhere from 3 to 6 breaths in between it before I dive back in. Because I want to make sure that I'm ready to dive back in. Not that the right thing would be to do is I got distracted and get right back in. Oh, whatever. Come on, give me a break. Give yourself some grace. If you're not doing very good at it right now, that's okay. Give yourself some grace. Give yourselves a couple breaths. And jump back in when you're ready. Now, a lot of times for me, because I've been doing this for so long, is I can kind of get back into it somewhere in between 2 breaths to 6 breaths, okay? That's about my range at this point. I just relax, I smile. I might not even process and finish the thought process that had distracted me. I just kind of all of a sudden go into its own little 2 to 6 breaths state of just calm. Just it's almost like a laughter the whole 2 to 6 seconds. And then I go, all right, let's do this, Breckheimer. And then I dive back in. I love that. Give yourself grace. Embrace the chuckle. This ain't that big of a deal. Create mini wins. Create mini wins. That was the previous video, but I'm telling you, it runs through all of this. Provide yourself some grace. Provide those around you some grace. Embrace the chuckle and have an awesome day. All right, we're going to dive back into a concept that is mentioned in this book again, but I'm going to be honest, this is not where I actually got this concept. But I do want to bring it up because whether you hear it in this video, in this course, or whether you hear this concept through this book, it may be the first time that you hear anybody even talking about this, because it's just not a common topic in meditation. That is meditating with your eyes open and being crazy purposeful about it, okay? Being intentional about at least half of your practice. If you meditate once a day, every other day, do it with your eyes open. If you meditate like I do, I like to meditate in shorter 2 to 5 minute meditations, and I like to do it at least 3 times per day. Make sure that at least once or twice per day that those meditations are with your eyes open. if you're in a group meditation. You may be the only one in the group meditation with your eyes open. Why eyes open? I know that he talks about it in this book, but I'm going to give you my perspective, and then you can dive into that book and see why he talks about it. For me, it comes down to the fact that when we talk about a gratitude practice and we talk about the meditation practice, I told you, everything has to be practical. If it's not practical, it just doesn't hold as much value to me. So the practical side of it is this. I have told you again that I want to be able to build a skill set that I can go in and out of a meditative state at will and on command. Now, do you notice how all of this is building on top of each lesson here? We're going to do the 3 by 3 by 3. We're going to do 3 short breaths because I want to be able to go in meditative state at will and out at will and on command. Then back in and back out at will and on command. Back in, back out at will and on command. Okay? Now, I don't want to do that just because that's the experience I want to have at home. That is my real life experience that I might be out at a, I don't care, Target. It could be Chipotle. It could be in work. It could be with family. I need to be able to go into that meditative state or whatever I find the benefit of my meditative practice is in that moment, at will and on command. So that's why I want to be able to go in and out of it anytime I want, not based on what time of day it is. I'm not against finding a time of day, a very specific time of day in a very specific location, like he talks about in this book, to build your meditation practice. But I need to practice it off of the cushion at other times, in other locations, and with my eyes open. So even if I'm meditating at a specific time in a specific location, I'm probably going to do half of that meditation, maybe every other day, or maybe half of a longer meditation, I'm going to do with my eyes open. Why? Because to stay in that meditative state, if you have your eyes closed, it is your mind that might be distracting you. And then the more mature that you get in your meditation practice, you know how to manage that. You get better at managing that. But how good are you at managing the distractions outside of your mind? There are real distractions out there. There are things that are walking by. There are things that are pulling your eye, pulling your mind one way or another. So I need to practice in a practical way that allows me to use the benefits of what I am practicing, because this is just, all I'm doing is practicing, so that I can use it in the real moment when it matters to me. Whatever I am finding value in on the cushion while I'm practicing, I want to be able to put into practice when I really need it, at will and on command. And when I really need it at will and on command, in front of a family member, a work member, a stressful situation at a store, anything, I don't get to just go sit down and close my eyes. It doesn't work that way. It's not my reality. Now, some people will pretend nothing's going on, get out of the situation, then they will go sit in their car, and before they drive away, they will sit there for 2 to 5 minutes and meditate. Great! Okay? What if you're not in this situation that you can wait until that situation is done and you can walk away? What if you're the one directly involved and in the middle of that situation? What would it take to help you get into the state that will allow you to be better and do better? That's another concept I talk about a lot. I am really looking for what does it take to help me to always be better and do better. I want to be able to be better and do better. Now, I had told you that one of my whys for a meditation practice is emotional self-control. I have learned so much over the last, whatever it is, 30, 35 years in my meditation practice that have helped me in the area of emotional self-control. Okay? The more emotional self-control I have, the better human being I feel that I am capable of being and becoming. So do you see how this all ties back to the very first video or the very first chapter in this book is know your why. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to end this video But I'm going to tell you, if you've never thought of, heard of, or tried meditating with your eyes open, try the 3x3x3 that we talked about, because now your eyes are open, you have new distractions, and with those new distractions, you may not last very long. You might not last more than 3 breaths. If you can last 3 breaths, if you don't, you last 2 breaths, what do you got to do? Give yourself grace and embrace the chuckle. Okay, previous videos. But practice meditating both with your eyes closed and with them open. Now I'm going to tell you one real life situation where I actually meditate with my eyes open. In fact, I'm going to give you 2 examples in the next video. All right, so I hope this helps you. And if it's a new concept to you, yes, I love that. Okay, I hope you're getting something out of this course. All right, I promised that I would give you 2 examples of when and how I actually meditate with my eyes open. So here's 2. One of them is, and I'm going to give this guy credit, I was doing it before I got to know Thich Nhat Hanh, but really diving into Thich Nhat Hanh and seeing how big of a part walking meditation was of his practice. It was just something I was doing, but I wasn't even thinking of it as a thing. Okay? It's a big thing for Thich Nhat Hanh. So he was a big influence on me. There's just no doubt about it. So there are a lot of things that I was doing that once I started reading Thich Nhat Hanh, he helped me see that it was a thing, and I started to learn how he did it, and it helped refine the way I do it and the way I think about it, and how grateful I was that I had naturally started doing certain things. So again, it went into my gratitude practice. So let's talk about walking meditation. So my walking meditation, and I'm just going to use one quick example. I go for gratitude walks with Squirrel, my little Tijuana rescue that we talked about earlier, and I adore her, and we go for gratitude walks, and she's good for about 2 to 2.5 miles, assuming it's not too hot. Today, seriously, we're at close to 90 degrees today. So I walked her very early in the morning. We got about 2 miles in, okay? Now, when I do those 2 miles, I can't remember, I don't really clock it because I don't pay attention that way when I'm doing those walks. I don't know how long it takes us to walk those 2 miles. What is that, maybe 14-minute miles when you're walking? I don't know, so maybe it's a half hour, 20 minutes, half hour. I'm not in a meditative state all 30 minutes, okay? I go in and out of my meditation. Sometimes I focus on my meditation and I could be good for the first quarter mile, I could be good for the first full mile. Rarely am I good for the whole 2 miles without ever getting distracted. That's just not my reality, okay? So what I do in that meditation, walking meditation, I told you that gratitude's a big part of my meditation practice. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking for things that I'm grateful for. So I look for things such as the stream. I look for things such as the trees. I look for things, and I'm going to give you one real life example, which is right on this corner behind the actual camera. And that is when I came around this corner, and it was late fall, early winter when I came around that corner. And this is the greenest area on the trail. It's amazing how gorgeous and green it is. And it just looked dead. All the leaves had fallen. There was nothing on the trees. There was no color. Okay, the color was all brown. I mean, I immediately was thinking about death. It just seemed like everything around me was dead. And all of a sudden, it hit me. Nothing here is dead. It's just a season. It's just a season. If everything here was legitimately dead, even half of these things here were legitimately dead, we wouldn't have a spring. They're not dead. There is no death here. And somehow that hit me. I said the phrase, there is no death here. There is no death here. There is nothing but a season. And it made me think of so many things that we overstate in our lives. It's not death, it's just a season. Okay? You could be going through a hard time. It could be just a season. This too shall pass. It's a huge phrase to me. This too shall pass. Anybody who is deep into mental health knows that phrase. Okay? This too shall pass. What does any of this got to do with gratitude, meditation, and everything? It's got everything to do with it. I'm on a walking meditation, and I told you that I am present. I have the reward of being present quite often. And that's because I'm constantly looking for things to be grateful for. And because I am looking for, seeking, I am looking and seeking. That is almost a definition of being present. And when I looked and I saw and I noticed. Now remember previous videos. Look, seek, notice, then what? Acknowledge. I took that acknowledgement and it came into my walking meditation. So I started breathing in what I was grateful for. Lord, I am grateful that there is nothing but life here. Lord, I am grateful that this is just a season. I am grateful for the fact that this is an example to me in my life. I was grateful to notice what I notice. But I was looking for things to notice. I don't notice things just because it either hits me or it doesn't. No, I'm hardcore seeking, looking for. Which constantly keeps me in a state of being present. Now, with that said, I do have someone, actually a couple people where this topic has come up. They're like, you're almost constantly looking for, as you've talked about. You're almost constantly present. Isn't that exhausting? Absolutely, it's exhausting. I'm not kidding anybody. I'm exhausted. Okay? But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. By the end of the day, I'm spent. I am spent. I've worked hard looking for the good. I've worked hard. Legitimately. Not in theory. I've legitimately worked hard to look for the things to be grateful for. I told you that this course was not going to be just a meditation course. It's a gratitude practice and meditation practice course. I can't separate the two. So when do I have my eyes open? On a walking meditation. You're not going to go on a walking meditation without your eyes open. As long as your eyes are open, look for things to be grateful for, even in the worst situation. Okay? So where's the other time that I had my eyes open? A few people have heard this story from me, so I'm just going to share it, and it is Chipotle. I have a vegan diet, and because of the vegan diet, there are some places I can't eat because they just don't have a lot of options for me. So if I just need a go-to in our area, there's a Mexican restaurant where you get to go through the line and pick out whatever you want. And it's called Chipotle, and Chipotle, it doesn't matter if it's the greatest food or not the greatest food. It's fine. The main thing is, I know what to expect. I can go there and I know I can pick out my own ingredients and I can build a vegan option menu. So here's the deal. When I go into Chipotle, Chipotle is one of those areas that I know I'm going to meditate. So here is my meditation practice going into Chipotle. I leave the phone in the car. That is non-negotiable to me. It will not leave the car. And my challenge to myself is that I will begin my meditation as soon as my foot leaves the car and hits the pavement until the person says, "Can I help you?" How long is my meditation? However long that takes to get me from the point that my foot hits the pavement to the point that someone says, "Can I help you?" That's exactly, not kind of, it's exactly how long my meditation is. There's only one thing that alters that. If I'm in line. How many people do you think really talk to me? Now I meditate with my eyes open, so nobody knows I'm meditating. Okay? But how many people do you think generally talk to me? Not a lot. Why? Because none of them left their phone in their car, and they all got their heads in their phone. The only thing that changes my practice from the time that my foot hits the pavement to the time that someone asks me if they can help me or what I want to eat is if someone talks to me in between that time, and my statement to myself is, any human in front of me is more important than my goal. Any human in front of me is more important than my goal. So if they acknowledge me, ask me how I'm doing, they want to strike up a conversation, they're just social, my meditation practice can happen another time. How do I be better and do better? The be better and do better is not worry about my goal in that moment. It's about worrying about the human that's in front of me and being, we're back to a gratitude practice, being grateful for that. So I do my 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out, 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out, 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. A lot of times I can get that whole thing in between now and the time that I get asked if someone can help me with the food. But here's the story I wanted to tell you. I've been doing this for years and years and years and years. Okay, so there's 2 Chipotles that I go to quite frequently. One in Roseville, Minnesota, and one in Stillwater, Minnesota. The one in Roseville, Minnesota, it wouldn't be that common that I was there on a fairly regular basis, and then this happened. I always kind of do my meditation practice, and then when someone acknowledges me about my food, then I'm very focused on the next thing, and that is be present with the person in front of me. Now, I've practiced being present. I'm going to be present with each person because it's usually 2 or 3 people that help you in the time that you get your food to the time of checkout. Each person, generally speaking, at that Chipotle, they all wear name tags. So the goal is to be present with that person and use their name tag. Look for things to be grateful for, find things you're grateful for, and then acknowledge them. So I'm going to try to find things I can acknowledge to each one of them, if possible, throughout that. Now, in my meditative state, I've tried to continue to have my eyes open and see, did anybody do anything that is worth acknowledging? Most of the time there is, if we're honest. Some people say, service is always bad. Look for things. There are people other than the people that are working there too, okay? I won't get into all that, but here's the thing is, this was a real life experience, and it's I've told this story a bunch of times, and I've cried a bunch of times, and I'm not going to on this video. I'll keep it light, but it touched me. So I get through the line. The young lady is there to ring me out. Or I thought she was there to ring me out. I gave her my debit card. She said, "We're all good." I was confused. I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't pay." She goes, "I said we're all good." Okay, now I'm on the edge of tearing up. The deal is we were not all good. Okay? I hadn't paid. I was confused. I was literally in a state of confusion. I'm like, "I'm sorry, I have not paid." She said, "Sir, you won't be paying today." And again, that didn't help me. It didn't clarify anything. It confused me more. I said, "I'm sorry, I just went through the line and I haven't paid." Now, have you ever had that feeling that there was a group of people looking at you? After we went through that third interaction, I think it was, where I was just very clear that I am really confused. I have not paid, and I still need to pay, and I want to pay with this debit card. And she again reinforced that I'm not allowed to pay today. And it wasn't like she stopped and said, "By the way, someone already paid for you," or whatever it was. All of a sudden, I had this feeling that a bunch of people were looking at me. And I didn't notice up to that point that she was grinning like a Goonie bird. I was focused on the fact that I was confused. All of a sudden I noticed how much she was grinning. I don't know why I didn't notice that a moment earlier. And then I looked to my right, and everybody who works in that line, which was another 3 people, were also grinning like Goonie birds. And I said, "I'm sorry, but what is going on here?" And I laughed because now I'm like, okay, this is just weird. The people in line weren't getting served because those people were staring at me, so now they're staring at me. And this is what she said to me, and this will never leave my heart, the importance that you and I have when we're just living our life and the impact that we have on people. I wasn't doing this to have impact on people. And she says, "Here's the deal is, you come in here a lot, and we've all talked about it. We can't figure out what it is about you. But every time you come in," she used the word impact, "every time you come in, somehow you have an impact on us. None of us can figure out what it is. None of us can figure out what you've done, but you inspire us and impact us every time you come in, and we couldn't figure out another way to tell you and another way to thank you than just to not allow you to pay. And when we saw you come in, we all agreed that today was the day." And I'm not saying anything because I'm a little stunned. And she said, "You just need to know that you affect people." And I am nothing special. I know that. You're every bit as special as I am. That's what I'm saying to you watching this course, not to her. I'm just stunned when she said this. And she says, and I don't want you to worry about it because here's the thing that we know. You'll be back. That's all she said. I turned and I thanked everybody. I was almost in tears, but a little too stunned to be in tears. I took my food and I left. And I'm sure everybody in line was like, what the hell just happened? I'm just telling you. That is part of my gratitude and meditation practice. Some of you are like, what is this story even about? This is every aspect of what my gratitude and meditation practice looks like in real life with my eyes open. Being freakishly present as often as I can, looking for, finding things to be grateful for, and acknowledging. Breathing in and confessing what I'm grateful for. Breathing out how I'm going to serve other people. They don't even know that I do that in line. And in line, I have given gratitude on the breath in for every single person that's worked there before they ever did that to me. Breathing in, I am grateful for the staff that is here today. I am grateful for the person that, and I will, so you know I breathe in gratitude and I speak out service. Today, I am grateful for the staff that is here today. Breathing out, I will make sure that they know that they are appreciated. Breathing in, I am crazy grateful for the smiles on 2 out of the 3 people that are up there today. Breathing out, I will make sure that I acknowledge those smiles and I help the 3rd one smile. I literally say this stuff in my head. This is my meditation practice in real life off the cushion. It is a meditation and gratitude practice. I am practicing it every day at every moment that I can, whether I'm walking through Target, whether I'm walking through Chipotle, whether Dina is coming home. I hear the garage door go up. I can get into all this kind of stuff. I can give you example after example after example after example how I practice this multiple times throughout the day. So I want to hammer that home for you that I don't just meditate 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, half an hour a day, 45 minutes a day. My goal is to meditate multiple times throughout the day, go in and out of a meditative state so I get better at it so that when it's the most important to me that I need it right there in that moment, I already have built up the skill set to know how to go into a meditative state and how to come out of a meditative state at will and on command. Try meditating with your eyes open. Try a walking meditation. Once you've done a walking meditation around the park or whatever, around your block or whatever, then try it in Target. Then try it in Chipotle. Bring this into your real life. Okay. So I love the word gratitude. But sometimes we use the word gratitude and sometimes we talk about joy. And then sometimes they almost get interchanged. So let's just bring up the word joy. In our society, there are memes everywhere, and sometimes memes are just to make fun of things, and memes are sometimes just posts of wisdoms, and people say, do what, and this is something that's been pretty popular for a couple years, is people saying, do what makes you happy. Find what makes you happy and do more of that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that that's not accurate or a good idea or anything else like that, but here's the deal is, I want to give you one other perspective. And why do I talk about joy when this is a gratitude practice course? So I'm going to give you a quick history of how gratitude even became a thing for me. The fact is when I was younger, I wanted to find 2 things. I wanted to find and do research and better understand how to find and have peace and contentment in my life. It was a biblical verse that I had read that someone had found, and they had learned how to, that's the key phrase, learned how to become or find a place of peace and contentment even in the worst situations when they had nothing and they were on a death sentence and everything else like that. They weren't gifted peace, they weren't gifted contentment. He said, I have learned. Oh my gosh, that was a changing sentence in my life. That it wasn't something that we either get the gift of peace and contentment or we don't. I have learned. Oh, that sentence. And he says it twice. He says, I have learned blah, 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 blah. I have learned blah, 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 blah. And it's always about peace and contentment, and not that it was a gift, that he had learned it. That empowered me. That empowered me, that it wasn't something I had to wait for, I had to hope for, that maybe some people get peace and contentment as a gift and some don't. And maybe there's a reason that they don't and that they're being punished. I don't know. There's so many places that our head could go that it's just wrong. That's not what the scripture said. It said that he had found peace and contentment. Not that he had just received it, but that he had learned how to find peace and contentment. So the empowering part was this. Wait a minute. If he can learn it, anything that one man can learn, another man can learn. That's empowering. How is that not empowering? I play guitar, okay? I'm not as good as a lot of people. But if one other person can learn how to do something, they can learn how to play a certain song, then possibly if I put the work in, I can learn how. It's empowering to know that it's a learnable thing. It's empowering to know and have examples that other people before you have treated something as a learnable skill, and they went about it and actually were able to prove that they could learn it rather than just be gifted it. So I put a couple years study, a little over 5 years study, into learning as much about peace and contentment as possible. Because I had to learn about it so that I could build some skill sets around it. I had to understand the topic better, learn some skill sets around it, and figure out how to apply those things so I could learn how to find peace and contentment. That's a much, much deeper topic than what we're going in here. And if it doesn't sound right, trust me, if I could go deeper, you would see 100% right. But here's the problem is that Les Brown told me is that in a video, not personally, but Les Brown said, if you find a topic that means a lot to you, find that one topic and read one new book per month, every month for 5 years on that topic. And after 5 years, you will become an expert in that area. You'll become not only an expert in that area, you'll become one of the top 5% experts in that area in the world. That's how I handled my desire to learn as much as I could about peace and contentment. So what's that got to do about gratitude and joy? Okay? You cannot read one book per month, a new book every month for 5 years on peace and contentment, and 3 other things come up. Peace, contentment, joy, gratitude, and compassion. I would challenge anybody to read 5 years worth of books, one every month for 5 years on peace and contentment, and not have joy, gratitude, and compassion thrown in your face over and over and over. Those 5 go together. So what is it about joy? The attitude that we have in this culture, or at least that we like to promote, is find things that bring your joy and do more of that. I'm not going to disagree with that. If you find something that brings you joy, it would be a good idea to do more of that. The thing that we don't talk about is self-awareness is a freaking superpower. I wish I would have said that in every video before this, and I wish I would say it in every video after this. Please understand that self-awareness is a freaking superpower. If you can be self-aware of not what brings you joy, but be self-aware of what steals your joy, I would say that's almost a better place and a healthier place to start. Here's the deal. If you have this, let's just measure it out. We have this many things that are stealing our joy. To feel more joy, if all we do is we figure out and we're self-aware as to what brings us more joy and we keep adding it, I have to keep adding and adding to dilute this, okay? If we're here on the joy spectrum, this is what steals my joy, this is what brings me joy. If I'm willing to deal with, and that can be a hard thing for some people, if I'm willing to deal with, I'm self-aware, because self-awareness is a superpower. I'm self-aware of what steals my joy, and I deal with the things that are stealing my joy, I almost automatically, without adding joy, already feel more joy. Now, if I find and I'm self-aware of what brings me joy and I add that, it has a multiplying effect. I'm going to encourage you, short video just about joy. Get focused on becoming self-aware. And if you work at a computer, geez Louise, take a little Post-it and write, self-awareness is my superpower, and throw it on your computer, throw it on your desk, throw it on the dashboard of your car, throw it on your refrigerator, throw it on the mirror in your bathroom. Self-awareness, if you can harness, and that becomes an amazing skill set of yours, a strong skill set of yours of having more self-awareness, better self-awareness, more accurate self-awareness, and you take that self-awareness and you start to realize what and acknowledge, look for, okay, find and acknowledge or handle what is stealing your joy, you will almost automatically find more joy. Now, what does this got to do about gratitude? First of all, I told you it's kind of part of that 5. The second thing is this. Sometimes when you are looking for joy, because I told you, I actively look for the things that I'm grateful for. When you are actively looking for things to be grateful for, or that you are grateful for, sometimes what's holding you back from seeing the things that you could be grateful for are the things that are stealing your joy. Those things are so empowering in your life that you're becoming ineffective in other areas of your life. You're becoming ineffective in the areas of compassion in your life. You're becoming, because you're worn out, you're bitter, you're hurt. You're becoming less effective in the areas of gratitude in your life because there's so many things that are stealing your joy. I'm just telling you right now, this is kind of a side topic in this course. Become self-aware. Look for, find, and acknowledge and handle the things that are stealing your joy. And you'll almost instantly get the reward of feeling more joy and seeing more things that you could, should, and are truly grateful for. So I hope that helps you. All right, we're getting pretty far in the course here. We're actually getting pretty close to wrapping this up as well. As you've gone through the course, I hope there are some concepts there that both you've enjoyed, maybe they've confused you, but they've intrigued you to look into them, maybe try a few of these things. But a lot of people are just going to point blank ask me and go, where do I even start? I just don't even get it. Okay, that's a lot going on there. And for me, in my head, I'm like, I don't know, how hard is a 3x3x3? You know, because I've been doing it so long, I almost take it for granted. Where's the starting point? So I'm going to use an example of, and I'll just go back to this book. You can get this book. It's still a great book. It's not the one that I'm recommending as Thich Nhat Hanh's first book or anything like that, but it's one example where you saw all those short little phrases. I think it was page 7 earlier in the course. I said when he's breathing in, he says certain things quietly in his mind, and when he's breathing out, he says quietly these things. And what you can do, I'm just going to use that as an example. You can see, I don't know if it's focused, but it says breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. As my in-breath grows deep, my out-breath grows slow. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I feel at ease. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. And he goes on and on and on. Some of these may not even connect with you. What I hope connects with you, and I'm going to encourage you for a first step. First step is stop trying to be a rock star. Stop trying to do this without prompts. Stop trying to do this based on whatever skill you're hoping that you'll have. Stop trying to do this hoping that it's easy. Assume it's hard and cheat. cheat. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm doing it right now. In, out. Okay? We got bugs coming in now. Okay? In, out. Write your ins. Write your outs. Now for me, gratitude and service. You could even write this if it's helpful to you. Gratitude in, service out. I could put in there. Now for me, because I've been doing this so long, if I'm going to put prompts together, I could just start writing things. I could put Dina. I could put Jordan, one of my daughters. Lauren, another daughter. Gave me my first grandchild. Okay. Jordan's about to give me my second one. Okay. Then we've got Jonathan, living out in Eugene, Oregon, and being an awesome climber. Okay. I literally can just put their names down, and that's enough of a prompt for me at this point to know that I'm going to do 3 gratitudes in about Dina and 3 service statements out. Then I'm going to do 3 for Jordan. Now, I said I do 3, 3, 3. I do actually, it's closer to 3, because I'm doing 4 people, okay? I'm always going to go through all 4 of them, okay? But here's the deal is, now, that might not be enough prompt for you. So start writing in, what are the 3 things, or what's the one thing about Dina that you want to talk about that I'm grateful for? What's the one thing that I want to go ahead and say that I'm going to do in service? Now, how do I say that same thing 3 different ways? So what I'm grateful for with Dina, that I know she loves me. How do I say that 3 different ways on the way in? And how do I say that I'm going to make sure that she knows that she is loved? I'm going to make sure that she feels that she is loved. I'm going to make sure that she knows and feels that she is respected and honored. How do I say those things 3 different ways? I'm telling you right now, you can cheat. You can write these prompts. Some people, they use these books as prompts, and they go through some of his, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to come up with your own, okay? I'm just looking through some of his right now. I'm getting distracted because I love this stuff, okay? I love those prompts. Sometimes I need to get out of my own head, and I'll use someone else's prompts. But take a notebook and write 2 or 3. If you're going to do a 3 by 3, and then the last 3 is 3 times per day, okay? If you're going to do a 3 by 3, as we mentioned earlier in this course, 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. You're going to do that 3 times. Each one of those, you can give it a different topic. The first one might be your spouse, second one might be your, you've got an only child, and the third one is your job, okay? Or your parents, or whatever it is, your health, whatever it is, okay? Write those prompts. I'm telling you, you have permission in this course to cheat. Absolutely cheat, okay? Now, from there, I'm also going to tell you another cheat that I have done. I have used other people's books with the prompts, such as Thich Nhat Hanh. I've used my own notebook to write my own prompts, and I've actually pre-recorded myself. So I will do the prompts, and then I will record myself saying those prompts and doing a guided meditation. So I could actually go to Insight Timer, Calm, Headspace, all these, and I can use those as prompts. Have you ever thought about making your own guided meditation? Use your iPhone, your Android, whatever it is, and assuming that you play music through your phone into your car, stream to your car, or via USB or Bluetooth or whatever it is, you could actually record your own guided meditation. Now, think about it from this point of view. Why is that powerful? Way more powerful for me anyways than using, say, Insight Timer from time to time. Not every time, but from time to time. Why is this so important? I do the same thing, by the way, on books that I believe had the biggest impact on me. Rather than just getting the audiobook, I will record the audiobook. I'll record that chapter, put it in my car, and listen to it over and over again while I'm out driving. Because if it's that powerful that I want to hear it again and again, how much more powerful are not just the words, because I want to hear it again and again because the words are powerful. How much more powerful is it to hear the words said in my own voice? So it comes out here and it actually comes back in here. It's a loop. So let's go back to my meditation practice. My meditation practice is about gratitude, building affirmations off of those gratitudes. The breath, 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. You get the idea. Okay? If my meditation practice is pretty heavily based on gratitude and affirmations, why don't I record those gratitude and affirmations? So not only am I grateful for them and I'm thinking about them, I have to say them out loud, first of all, to record them. There's power in just saying things out loud. Number 2 is, then I have to listen to myself saying them over and over and over again. Oh, it's so good. Okay. I say it's so good. It is so good. Okay, but here's the deal is, it's tough to listen to yourself. It just is. For a lot of us, it just is. Okay, some of us have a hard time giving a speech. Some of us have even a harder time listening back to the recording of a speech we gave. These videos are hard on me. Some people don't think that they are. Who are you kidding? Okay? It's super hard on me. I'm telling you right now, there is power in the word. Then there's power in your own word. Then there's power in hearing your own word and hearing it over and over and over again. Okay? So, I just wanted to let you know that you can create your own prompts. You absolutely can cheat. And you can guide yourself through your own meditation. Okay? So, last video, or the next video that I'm going to do, is about what are some of the resources that you should consider to also use as cheats besides yourself and creating your own prompts. All right, in our last video, I told you definitely it's okay to cheat. It's okay to build your own prompts. But here's the other thing. There are a lot of things that I am going to encourage and resources that we talked about earlier in the course, and some that we didn't mention that I do want to mention now. Don't be afraid to look for, and you can look for just by searching Google. You can look for by searching in your local area. There may be local online clubs, all those types of things, and look for group meditations. Okay? So I live in Stillwater, Minnesota. There is a group meditation, or there's a meditation group that meets out in Woodbury. It's about 15 minutes from me. Once the pandemic hit, we all went via Zoom anyways. But I used to drive out there 10, 15 minutes every single Saturday. Not one Saturday a month. It's every Saturday at 10 a.m. and we meet. Now we meditate together. Then after we're done meditating, we just hang out for maybe 15 minutes, a half an hour. Sometimes we have very deep discussion, and sometimes it's just a great hang. Okay, getting to know community. Sometimes someone will bring something up that happened for them in meditation, or a meditation practice that they had success in, or or someone's struggling and they say, were you guys really distracted today? How did you handle that? All that kind of stuff. There's so much value in finding a meditation group. Now, not every group is going to be perfect for you. For me, the meditation group I'm in is great for me. I'm going to be honest though, the first 1 or 2 times that I went, I felt so awkward. I did not want to come back. It didn't feel good to me. Don't judge whether it feels good to you on 1 or 2 visits sometimes, okay? What kept me coming back, and this was the blessing for me, is that one of the people that's in the group was a great friend of mine that I've known for, I don't know, I think I met her when I was maybe somewhere between 18 and 19 years old, and I'm going to be 50 this year, and we're still very good friends. So just the fact that she was in it, almost embarrassed not to show back up. So I wasn't showing back up because I was comfortable with the group. I was showing back up out of embarrassment that she invited me, and I came twice, and if I didn't show back up, it almost said something that I didn't like the group, or whatever it was. It was uncomfortable for me. So I actually stayed even though I was not totally comfortable, because it was more uncomfortable not to come. And oh my gosh, am I glad I stayed. It's been a huge blessing in my life. And these people are amazing. And I've learned from each of them in many, many different ways. It's been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think it's going on a couple years now. It's a beautiful thing. So if you've not heard about the concept of group meditation, there are not many major areas that don't have multiple group meditations. Some of them meet at community centers. Some of them meet at meditation centers. Some of them meet at churches. Some of them meet in people's homes. Some of them just meet via Zoom. Okay? I would encourage you to get involved in one that is at least 3 people, but no more than 10 people. Because you want people to be able to participate and not hide. Now, when I say you want people to be able to participate and not hide, excuse a plane going overhead, is sometimes you're the one that's hiding. I'm the one that's hiding. Don't get in a group that's so big that it allows you to hide. But also don't make it so big that once it does become comfortable for you, there are other people that are hiding as well. Okay? 3 to 10 people. I'd really say 3 to 8 people is really ideal. I like more than 3 because not everybody can make it every week, and then that means that sometimes there's only 1 or 2. Okay, so I like something closer to about 6 people to 8 people if possible. So I hope that if that's a new concept to you, that you will research that in your local area. If not, go create one. By the way, I guess I'll keep bringing this resource up. Sit Like a Buddha. That was basically how he got into it. He started getting into meditation. He wasn't that far into meditation. And then I think he was looking for a group. And then it ended up being that someone kind of challenged him and said, well, no, we don't have someone here to lead the group. Why don't you lead it? And he's like, I can't lead people in meditation. He did it anyways, okay? And that was kind of how he really got his start in meditation. Someone that wasn't comfortable leading a group, and he led a group. And now he's writing books on it and leading people all across the world. I'm not saying you're going to do that, but I'm saying don't be afraid to start your own group and lead your own group. And if you ever need, fine, call on people like myself and people that have other meditation practices and have them call in as a Zoom guest. There are a lot of ways that you can make this work. All right. Hope that helps you guys.
All right, if you've already been through the practical side of gratitude and meditation course, you know that I've talked about prompts, meditation prompts, gratitude prompt sheets. I use them, I have created them for myself, and I promised that I would share a few with you. So what we've done is I've taken a couple of my prompts, and I've also been heavily influenced by Thich Nhat Hanh throughout the years. So I've actually included some of his prompts on here as well. So let me go through these sheets, let you know how I use them or how you could use them. And you will notice that there are 4 pages of prompts here. Okay, so we'll go through each one of those, noticing that the 4th page is blank, so you can start to create your own. You could do this on notebook, pen, and paper, but the fact is we do make them available for you in this, and you can just download these as a PDF, use them as printouts, or just upload them to your iPad, and I just use an Apple Pencil, and I actually do everything digitally. So here's basically what we've got. Oh, and real quick, some people are asking, where would I find these? Number one, if you're a member of the practical side of real estate, you'll see these sheets are free inside our membership. You'll also notice that they're free on the goodie page for the membership. If you are not a member, but you have the course, and if you have the course, you can buy it at our website. You will notice when you're in the course, there's multiple places in the course where it'll tell you that you can download these sheets, and they're PDFs. So that's where you'll find them. So real quick, in the course, I talk a lot about the 3x3 or 3x3x3. And basically, let's just remind ourselves what that means. So I'm going to just start with this top one here. Basically 3 breaths, and do 3 cycles of 3 breaths. So breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. In, out, out. That's one cycle. It's 3 breaths, 3 ins, 3 outs. Then I'm going to take a little bit of break, and when I'm ready, I'm going to say, all right, let's do this, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to do another 3 breaths. I'm going to do that 3 times. It's a total of 9 breaths with a little break in between each set of 3. But they're 3 very focused and intentional breaths. Now, what is a 6x3? So I'm going to use, and we're going to come down to this very first one down here where it says, breathing in, I know, and I'm going to use the name Dina because Dina's my awesome wife and my hot wife, and I want to use her name. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I want to show you the difference between a 3x3 and a 6x3, and then that'll help lead you through how to use the rest of these prompts on these sheets, and I'll show you what's in here. The very first one was just very, very simple. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. On the out breath, breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. I say these things silently in my mind, and then the second breath, I just say in, out. I don't need to say the whole phrase in my head, just in, out, okay? Now, if I want to do a 3x3, and I want to talk about gratitude in and service out. So the gratitude is how grateful I am for Dina. Service is how I'm going to serve her due to my gratitude. So real quick, breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. Breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows she is loved. Okay? That would be 1 breath. Now, I may go ahead then, do that 3 times. Why do I break it down 3 separate times here? Because each time I say it, I want to say the same thing with the same intentions, the same message, but I want to say it 3 different ways. So you'll notice a lot of times, whatever I determine my in and my out breath are going to be, I do that exact same theme over all 3 breaths. I purposely, though, try to say it with a little different inflection in my mind and a little different verbiage each time so that I'm very purposeful and intentional and not just doing it out of habit. So I might say, breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. Breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows she is loved. Okay, this is what I'm thinking when I'm breathing in and breathing out. Okay, I'm breathing in what I'm grateful for. I'm breathing out how I'm going to serve her back. Breathing in, I'm grateful for Dina's love. Breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows she is respected. Breathing in, I am crazy grateful for Dina's love. And breathing out, I will make sure that that girl knows that she is appreciated. Now, there are some people, this is where the difference between a 3x3 and a 6x3 come in, okay? There are some people, that's almost stressful because they're trying, it's almost too much to think about on the way in and then too much to think about on the way out. So what I can do is I can break this into 6 breaths, okay? And basically what it is breathing in, I will take a full in cycle and a full out cycle. So breathing in, I know that Dina loves me. Now, in the next in cycle, I'm still going to talk about out, but I'm focusing on the out breath now. And breathing out, I know that I will make sure that she knows she is loved on the out breath, okay? So it's going to take me 2 full breaths to get through this in and out cycle. Now, if you do that 3 times, that's 6. That's the difference between a 3x3 and a 6x3 is. If I want to take a little more time with it, I'll take 1 full in-breath and out-breath just on the in cycle and 1 full in-breath and out-breath when I confess the out cycle. When I confess the in cycle, I'm focused on the in and just letting the out happen. The out's going to happen whether you want it to or not. You don't have a choice, okay? But then on the next one, I'm going to focus on the out cycle. And to get an out cycle, I obviously have to breathe in, but I'm not focused on the in. I'm just letting that happen, okay? That's the difference between a 3x3 and a 6x3. They're basically exactly the same thing. Now, what Thich Nhat Hanh had taught me years and years and years ago was whatever you are saying on the in-breath and whatever you are saying on the out-breath, the next time that you do it, if there's a way to simplify it and just say just in, just out, that's okay too. So what I've done here is I've given you a couple prompts, and we're pretty much done with this sheet. So I'm just going to page through here and tell you exactly what you've got here. You can use these exact prompts, okay? Literally these exact prompts, print them out, have them in front of you. Breathing in, I am grateful for this smile. Breathing out, I will share this smile with everyone I see today. Breathing in, I am grateful for my joy. Breathing out, I will share this joy with everyone I see today. Breathing in, I am crazy grateful to be filled with this joy. I will thank others for the joy they bring me, okay? So that would be an example. Now, I say these silently in my head. If I say these out loud and as loud as I just did, people would be like, what is wrong with that dude? So you'll notice there's a whole sequence of these, a bunch of these. Then when we get to the 3rd sheet, and that's the end of this video, basically, is saying that basically what I wanted you to do is I wanted to give you some examples of a master. And Thich Nhat Hanh is certainly that master. There's no doubt about it. So these come directly from his happiness book. Now he has, I don't know if he's got like 50 books. It's crazy. And he does a lot of these examples in a lot of these books. So I just pulled out one. I literally just paged through the book and just wrote down every one that I saw in the book. And so that is going to be an example of Thich Nhat Hanh's version of this kind of 3x3 and 6x3, and then there's a blank sheet you can print out and start writing your own. Now at this point, I've been doing this so many years, I just come up with them off the top of my head and I feel them and I love it. But long time ago, what I needed is I needed to pre-think them, write them out, journal them, and then have them in front of me. Now I may do a different one every time I meditate, but quite frankly, I could write a number of them and I might use that same sheet for days, weeks, months. Okay? Once you get in the habit of this, it becomes pretty natural. So again, the sheets are available to you. If you are not a member of the practical side of real estate, You should be, and we do have group pricing if you want it for your team or your brokerage or anything like that. The other thing is you may not have anything to do with real estate and you just took this gratitude and meditation course. And if so, I hope these sheets find you well. Tons of love, you guys. Have a great day.
Okay, that ends this course. Now, this course can change from time to time. This end may get deleted and I might add to it at some point, and I might not. But here's the deal is I hope you got a couple concepts here that are important to you. But the main one is I want you to once again be tied back to the two words that I pointed out when we started this recording in this course. That was everything in my meditation, my gratitude, my meditation practice has to be crazy practical. It has to be practical. Then number two is I give myself grace and say, I'm just practicing. Okay, so when I talk about I'm practicing gratitude and I'm practicing meditation, I give myself grace that I'm not always succeeding at it at the level that I want to. Okay, here's the other thing. When we talk about I want it to be practical, now let's go back to practice. I practice it in as many practical situations as possible. So I can't do one of these words without the other. Everything in my practice for gratitude, for affirmations, for meditation has to be practical, and then I'm constantly practicing it. I'm practicing it at home by myself. I'm practicing it while I'm in the car. I'm practicing it when I get out of the car and I go in to eat and I leave the phone in the car intentionally. When I leave my phone in the car and go into Target to shop. I practice this stuff every opportunity I get. And it's awesome. It's an awesome blessing in my life. So this may not be the meditation course that you were hoping for. Maybe you wanted it to be more technical. Maybe you wanted it to be, I don't know, maybe you wanted some Buddha to teach it or something like that, okay? This is non-religious or anything like that. Now, yes, you may have heard a little bit of my religious leanings. I have a huge amount of influence from the Buddhist tradition and with Thich Nhat Hanh and that whole circle of influences over there. But then I'm also a Christian, okay? So the fact is my why originally started with a scripture verse of someone stating that, okay, they're in prison, they're on a death sentence, and somehow they can still experience peace and contentment. And they learned how to experience peace and contentment regardless of the situation. Wait a minute, it's a learnable skill? So then I start studying about peace and contentment. Then that led me over 5 years to peace, contentment, joy, gratitude, and compassion. Now those are my 5 words. Those have been my 5 words for years and years and years and years. Okay? Now, when I come to meditation and I have those as part of my background, and I know that I'm going through some mental health challenges, and I want to learn and build some skill sets around having better emotional self-control. That's where meditation came in for me. Now, I've gotten very technical and very deep into a number of different schools of thought and practices around meditation. I wasn't here to teach all of those. I was here to show you, no matter all those things that I've spent time in and studied in and still appreciate and respect, what does it look like on a day-to-day basis? What is my gratitude practice and my meditation practice, and what do my affirmations look like in real time? And this course is the best I can do to share that with you. I hope this helps you. Remember, be better, do better. You got this. And I hope that some of the things that you learn in this course help you to do and be exactly that. Tons of love. Love you, love you, love it. Oh, you hear those birds? Chrissy, I hope this audio works out because I love this. All right, love you guys. See ya.
All right, welcome to our resource section. This section may change over time. It may grow over time. We also have a few ideas of other things that we would like to make available to you guys. But the fact is this course will always have some form of a resource section. And I had mentioned in the course that I lean pretty heavily on resources. That's how I learned, that's how I grew, and that's how I still grow. And things like Thich Nhat Hanh and his books and his teachings, okay? Other websites that I go to, other apps. So we had mentioned a couple different things in the actual course, that there are different types and schools of meditation. This was not a course to teach you about all the different types and schools of meditation. So what we did is we picked out probably 6 of the more well-known websites that actually dive into and break down a lot of the different schools of meditation. So if that's something that interests you, there's a bunch of resources here, and we wanted to make more than one of these sites available to you so that you could see multiple people's perspective on the different schools of thought around meditation. The next thing is I am continually asked, because I tend to be known for someone that loves my books, David, what would be the #1 book that you'd recommend? Now, I had brought up a couple books in the course. I'm not even saying that those are the first books that I would start with. They're books that happen to literally be sitting on my desk when I left the house to go record that. And I just grabbed the 2 that I've been using that week, okay? But what we do here is we actually make available another half dozen links. And what it is I went into a bunch of the more well-known meditation websites, and most of them have book recommendations. So I'm providing the links for those, okay? Now, the next thing that you're going to see, besides types of schools of meditation and different books and resources, a lot of sites have already compiled frequently asked questions about meditation. So what we did is we tried to do a little of the research for you. We gave you what some of the common questions are, such as, is meditation new age? Okay, what do you mean by practice? Okay, all those types of things. And then what we did is we actually put a link for 4 of the more well-known sites that have actually compiled some frequently asked questions about meditation. It's a great place to start. Another thing that we've done is we've put together, people are consistently asking, do you use a meditation app? Which ones do you recommend? And what I do is I tend to recommend the top 3 for me anyways tends to be Insight Timer, Calm, and Headspace. I like those, but there are others available, and so we provide some of those links here as well. The other thing, I won't show it here, we are including other resources. You're going to see, if you don't already see it, in the middle of July, we're going to add some of my meditation prompts. Now, what is that? In the course, you will notice I turn to page 7 of Thich Nhat Hanh's book, where he actually gives his just a couple examples of his meditation prompts, what he says in his mind when he breathes in and what he says on the out breath. And I had mentioned that later on in the course that you could actually put those together yourself and create cheat sheets to help you meditate, meditation prompts. So with those, I'm going to actually give you a number of my cheat sheets, number of my prompts, and you can actually use mine as your guide to get into your meditation state. If that helps you, fantastic. But then we're going to give you those same sheets, and they're going to be blank so that you can fill those in and build your own as well. They'll be downloadable as PDF, or you can just add them to, say, something like GoodNotes on your iPad and use them, save them, reuse them, mark them up, send them to other people and share them, whatever you'd like. So you will definitely see a number of resources being added to this section as the course continues to grow. And other than that, if there's anything else that you are looking for specifically, feel free to reach out to me directly at david@cultivatewins.com. If I get enough requests for any one item, I usually, rather than answering everybody individually, a lot of times I'm just going to record that answer or find that resource, and I'm just going to add it to the course. Hope this is helpful, you guys. Have a great day.